Hey everyone, sorry that we're late. We had some issues, but that's not a problem. I'm joined by Willow. Hello, Willow. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm
Hey,
good.
are you in space?
I am, yes. It's
Yeah.
my Twitter handle is very much space themed, so it's appropriate.
I see something peeking out from behind you in space there. I don't know what it
We don't
is.
talk about that.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this stream on building a SvelteKit adapter for WinterJS. We'll see how far we get. Not everything is apparently implemented in WinterJS that we might need. So, but at least we'll talk about how you would build an adapter. With that said, I mean, should we get started? Maybe we can go through what WinterJS is first.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I guess it really starts at what Winter CG is, and it's kind of similar to groups we already know like W3C, where it's designed to like not it's not necessarily designed to be like that. I think it's like an XKCD comic where it's like we have one new spec to rule these 14 other specs, and now we have 15 specs. Like it's designed to hopefully not implement specs, but like show already existing ones, and then if it really has to, create some of its own. So it's currently got a few different companies like Cloudflare, Deno, Vercel, and the idea is that it has the same APIs across all these different platforms. So if you go on Node.js or Deno or Cloudflare, doing new URL, for example, is going to work everywhere, and you're not going to have any issues that you currently have with, oh, buffer doesn't exist in the browser, but blob doesn't properly exist in Node. Like, it's a nightmare. So WinterJS is like a WASM-based implementation of these specs that WinterCG provides. And it's made by these guys, WASMA. And they seem to have a pretty cool product, which mostly revolves around running WASM, which
Yeah,
is...
I think the like they have this Wasmer Edge thing at the top here. I assume that's kind of like Cloudflare workers, right?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I was at a conference a few months ago called Civo Navigate, and I was going to a few talks about WebAssembly, where it turns out, like, because I hadn't really used it much before, but people are using it for so many different things because of its ability to run most places and interrupt with all these different languages. It's such a powerful tool for running code.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a really nice way to run, like you said, run it on anything and without having to worry about things being built for the correct like CPU architecture and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So how do we begin?
Okay.
Where do we start?
I think probably we could start with a WinterJS Hello World,
Makes
just to
sense.
kind of see what it's get. So the first step, I think you can run WinterJS is written in Rust, and mostly Rust and JavaScript, so you can run it directly. But WASMA provide like some pre-compiled versions, and so we're going to use this,
Mm-hmm.
and that should be quite easy. If you want to open up your editor.
Yep. Oh, it's in the wrong window. Oh, for some reason, it's not showing the window. What? I need to re-present. Okay, here we go. Entire screen. Oh, okay. All right, here we go. All right. Can you see this? Oh, I think this is the wrong folder, sorry. WinterJS, hello.
We can't see anything yet.
Oh, sorry. I actually need to add it to StreamYard to actually see something. All right, here we are. I guess I create a file.
Yeah.
Something like this.
Okay, so For those of you who have used Cloudflare workers before, you might be familiar with the syntax. It used to be the main one they go for, but so it also if you've used a service worker, you'll be probably quite familiar with this. But so the first step is to do one sec. So you want to call add event listener.
Yep.
And then you're going to listen for the fetch event.
Is that a callback? I don't remember.
So the first parameter is a string fetch, and then the second one is a callback with a parameter called event.
Yep. Event. Yep.
And then in here you want to do event.respondWith. And then here's where the web APIs come into play. We're just going to do new response, and then you can do anything like hello world.
Right. So new response, hello world, something like that, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And I put in the StreamYard chat the command you need to run.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Just need to move things over.
I also put it in the YouTube chat for anyone who's curious. So what that's going to do is use Wasma to run WinterJS with allowing network access. And then they have this, I haven't fully looked into it. They probably have docs on this, but you have to map directories, and then we're just going to map that to the current one and then run the service worker file. So you see it's created a port on 8080, and you should be able to open that.
Hey,
hello.
That was simple. And now we have essentially a server, right?
Yes.
With just 3 lines of code, or 3 lines.
So you should pretty much be able to put what you want in here, as long as it returns a response. At the end of the day, that's all it needs. I did try.
You know what this reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the load functions and endpoints in SvelteKit. I wonder why. It's almost as if they're trying to adhere to some standard or something.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's literally it for the WinterJS. So I guess we can move on to maybe creating a SvelteKit adapter. Hello world.
Yeah. So, is there a command to do this? I assume
so.
not.
The easiest way is just going to be to create a new SvelteKit project.
Okay.
Because then we'll be able to write it and test it at the same time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. All right, so let's see here.
So for those of you who've done work in the SvelteKit code base, you know it's a monorepo. And so you can see all the adapters in there, which are separate packages. And so if we were going to publish this on NPM, we'd probably want to have it as a separate package. And we could then test it with SvelteKit locally, and we could probably even write unit tests if we really wanted to.
That's really nice. All right. I do want to continue, yes. All right. And all right, so library project, I assume?
It won't matter.
Okay. But what do you prefer?
We can do skeleton.
Skeleton or?
Skeleton, yeah.
Yeah, cool. TypeScript?
We're not going to use TypeScript, unfortunately, because I can't be bothered to deal with the compilation step, but you definitely can write this in TypeScript.
Yeah, and let's do JSDoc then.
Yeah.
What do we need here?
Just prettier, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right, WinterJS, adapter, stream, stream, PNPMI. Let's do Git as well, just to be safe. All right, and we have a code editor. Sweet. All right.
Your files are upside down.
What?
Your files in the Explorer upside down. Mine are the other way around.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to effectively explain it other than they're upside down. It's fine.
Sure. Let's go.
Okay.
All right.
So we could put this in lib. You can put it anywhere you want, really. I just made a folder in SRC called adapter. because it's not going to be able to access any of our like aliases or anything. So, and then we want a single just adapter.js file. Now, the common pattern you'll know from using the pre-built SvelteKit adapters is that it's usually a function, and then you can pass in options there. Now, we are not going to have any options, so it doesn't really matter if we have that or not. But to keep it the same, I think it probably should be a function. So you just want to export default and then a function.
Function. Sorry, what was the first?
We're not going to have any options, so it doesn't need anything.
Okay.
Nothing. And then here we're going to return an object. And so if you add the type for that object, you can import the adapter type from SvelteKit.
Right. But do we want to do that? Probably not, since we're not. Yeah. Okay.
It will be helpful for the IntelliSense, really.
So how do I even do that now?
I can just show you. I'm really bad with JS docs, so this is me trying my best.
Oh, okay. Someone in the comments is explaining the folders upside down stuff. So you meant you have the folders up here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have it the other way around because I'm cool like that.
Here you go. That's what the type you want to put on line 1.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, that's just saying if there's a function that returns an adapter, which is just an object. So the first property you want is a name. So the pattern that they all use internally is adapter dash something. I don't think it like really matters. Not with the at, sorry.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And then
I guess it makes sense to do adapter.js.
The only other property here, I think, is called literally a function called adapt, which takes in one argument, which is builder. So essentially what the adapters are is just like a fancy build script. So you get your builder, which has a bunch of helpful utility functions, and then you have your files. This is after the SvelteKit's run. This is after Vite has done its stuff. So you have just an output, and you can do whatever you like with it. So in the Vercel case, it's doing a bunch of stuff specific to Vercel's platform, and in our case, we're going to have to do some stuff to make it work with WinterJS. One sec.
Yep. Suddenly, there's a sofa in space. Who thought? Wow.
Yeah, no, there's no. we haven't introduced those aliens yet. Okay. So if you run, if you just console.log hello world in there, in the function, yeah. So there's nothing you don't have to return anything from the builder, from the adapt function. SvelteKit is basically saying, do what you want. And so in your svelte.config, you should import this instead of adapter auto.
Let's call it adapter test. Let's see here. Oh, it's in /source. Adapter. And then we just, actually, I guess we could just do this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I just do run build.
Yeah, that should hopefully work. You might need the file extension.
Oh, over here?
Yeah.
Cannot find, yeah, okay. There we go.
Sweet. And so you see it says using adapter WinterJS, which is where it's got the name from, and then it says hello world. So
nice. And we're done. We've built our adapter, right?
That's it. This is when ChatGPT comes in and does the hard work. No. Okay, so the next, so I guess it might be nice if you pull up the Cloudflare worker source code. We could kind of go through it and explain what it does.
All right. Adapter. Let me just find this kit. All right. That was a very long way, like a very roundabout way to get to the adapters. All right. So I guess the index that here?
Yes. So this is where everything's pretty much happening. It kind of look a bit daunting at first, but if you see, the on line 18 is the same sort of thing. We've got a function that's returning this object with a name and an adapt function. So all of the adapters share this in common. So it's a great place to start if you're trying to like understand how they work. It's just start here and piece it together. So if you also take a look in I think it's like files, if you go in the file explorer, files/entry, I think.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is also a little, but for those of you who haven't used Cloudflare Workers before, unlike the WinterJS, what it expects is you to export default and a fetch function, which is the same sort of thing where we're responding to essentially a HTTP request. So this is what this entry.js file is, what the adapter is going to use and kind of piece things together. So if you see on line 1, we've got this server import. This is what we're going to, in our adapter, we're going to replace this server with actual JavaScript code. And then that server is being generated just before the adapter by SvelteKit.
Okay.
And then you can see on line 18 where we're doing a init, and then just a bit further down, we're going to do server.respond.
Turn new response, this one.
A little bit further down, this is handling static assets.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There you go, line 81.
Yep.
So that's actually, it's kind of similar to in your hooks where you have the handle hook. This is just like the actual thing that's going to be calling handle and other things, right? So it's the same thing. And if you go back to the other file, okay, yeah. So I guess if we go line by line, the first line of that is just handling Cloudflare specific config. So it's, we wouldn't have that in our case. And then the next is basically, there's going to be a lot of path management here.
Yeah, all that fun stuff.
So we're kind of declaring some variables with our paths. We can see the first instance of one of the helpful functions that SvelteKit's providing us. This builder.get build directory. So what we're passing in a name here, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us a directory with that name in our .SvelteKit folder. And so here we're using it for temp, and I guess that's probably the main intended use case there. But if you need to save something to a file, this is the best place to do it. And then if we skip some of this Cloudflare stuff, we can go to line 41, where this is another function that's giving us this copy, which is a basically enhanced version of the copy you get from the Node.fs module. We're passing in the entry that we saw a minute ago.
Sorry.
And then we're saving it to this .SvelteKit/Cloudflare temp directory that we defined before. And then this third argument is replacing these variables. So you see here we're replacing server with this relative path. That's actually pulling in that JavaScript code that SvelteKit's build step generates for us. So you can see kind of how what I was referring to earlier when I said it's like a glorified script. It's just like any dirty script you've ever written to get a job done, right?
It kind of looks like one.
Yeah. And then the next important step here is line 57, where we're actually going to call esbuild and basically bundle up all that code, because the server script might be importing other things. We need to bundle in. We need to set the platform correctly. But most importantly, if you look on line 62, we're using that entry.js. We need to give the code in a format that Cloudflare and these other platforms can understand.
Right.
And that's how we do it.
Okay.
So if you want, we can try and sort of apply the same process we've looked at here to Winter. And this is great because WinterJS and Cloudflare workers are based on the same standards. There's also a lot of common patterns, which is why these adapters are going to be very close. And ours will be a little bit more simple because we don't have
options.
We don't have configs. I'm not sure. I don't think WinterJS currently has a file system API very easily, so that simplifies it a lot because we literally can't do that. Do you want to go back to what we had before? And we probably a good step before we forget is to install ESBuild.
Cool. All right. So I guess we create files and an entry?
Yes. So we could just put it in the same folder, or we can put it in files. It doesn't matter. And then we can call it entry.js, and then we get to start stealing code from the SvelteKit adapter. This is the fun part, I think. We want to take the same thing with the files variable and the temp variable first, which is down a little bit.
Oh, what is this? All right, let's see here.
Line 25 and 26.
Yeah. Whoop. It seems like it's very easy to build an adapter if all we're doing is copying an earlier adapter. All right, so we need this file URL to path function, I guess. Where can we find that?
Yeah, that's coming from Node. We might need to install @type/node as well, otherwise it might complain.
No, seems fine.
Okay.
Cool. So we have a temp. Maybe we shouldn't call it Cloudflare workers temp. We should call it a WinterJS temp.
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
We're also going to need to take the relative path variable. And so what that's going to do is going to get the relative path from our temporary directory to the SvelteKit server output, which we could actually look at. We won't be able to understand any of it because it's incredible. It's a very long bundled file, but it's still interesting, I think. So that's, I don't know what line number that is, but it's just down a little bit. The const relative path, you went past it.
What? It's relative. Oh, over here.
Yes.
So what do we do with this? Do we just copy it over?
Yeah.
Okay. And this POSIX thing.
I think it's come from path.
You know, I should probably just copy all of this stuff, right? I'm going to need it at some point anyway. I don't have to go up and copy it later. Okay.
You can actually, if we go in the .SvelteKit folder.
Oh, I just realized something. I've hidden the .SvelteKit folder.
Oh,
and now I have to figure out what setting it is that hides that folder. Hide folders, hide directories. Oh, I found it. Oop. There it is. All right. I am in the SvelteKit folder.
Cool. So it'll be the file we're going to be importing essentially from our entry is going to be an output. .SvelteKit output, and then I think server index.js. So it's very long, and it's just bundled code, so it's going to be a bit very hard to understand. But if you look at the very, very bottom of the file, you'll see we're exporting that server class that we're importing. We're going to be importing in our entry, and that's just essentially the same SvelteKit server. I think maybe those who've used the Node adapter might be a bit more familiar with this sort of thing of importing the server and running it. Slightly different, but similar.
Yep.
In a lot of ways.
This is a
lot of code.
This is a lot of code. All right.
Okay.
So we have the relative path. What's next?
Cool. We can keep going with this. So we want to still, borrow the builder.copy command that we had in the
Builder.copy. Builder.
line 41.
This one. Oh,
Not
oh,
that
sorry, that's the wrong one. Yeah. So
Yes.
this stuff.
So as I
Alright.
said before, what that's doing is essentially changing out that server import to an actual file that exists, and same with the manifest, which we're going to skip for the second, and moving it into our temporary directory. Yeah. So I don't know. It might be nice to try running build in a sec. We just need to do our entry first.
Okay.
If you go to the entry.js.
Right. Yes, I have it up here.
And we're gonna take some more code from the Cloudflare adapter.
Yep. I'm gonna open tabs here instead so we can switch back and forth. Yep. Okay.
So we want basically line 1 and line 7 for now.
Line 1 and line 7.
Yes. We can fix the type issue in a minute. If you want to try building, it shouldn't blow up.
Yeah, seems to be working.
So if you look in the .SvelteKit folder,
yep,
you should see we've got the WinterJS temp, which for our thing built, and you see we've got this. So it's replaced the path correctly to that our build, and so we know that's working. Great. It's quite an important step.
Yep.
Okay, we can go back to the actual adapter now.
All right.
And I guess we need to do. I actually don't know what this is, but the manifest. We need that. It sounds fancy, and so we need it. It's the right file sync from the adapter, the Cloudflare Workers adapter. It'll be in that index file.
Oh, so I wasn't right.
So line 48 to 55.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So we write the manifest to the temporary folder. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
And then so this file is going to include a manifest and also a list of pre-rendered paths. So if you have a file system, which I kind of need to have really, or some the way the Cloudflare Workers does it is use KV. This is going to contain, all of the paths that SvelteKit needs
the JavaScript
to do anything. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I guess the one of the last steps is to take the ES build that they've got.
Yep. Oh. They shut the lights off here if you don't move. I guess we need to make this an async function.
You want to make line 11 async.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right. And we have this main thing. What is that?
Yes. So that in the Cloudflare adapter, that's coming from the config. But for us, this just can be any file. This is where ESBuild's going to save it to. So I guess if you want to do like temp/output.js for now, you'd want to change that to something better later. You need to use the variable. So TMP.
Variable? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I don't know.
So what this would be for, usually it would be like .cloudflare/whatever, .vercel/whatever, and that's what your platform's going to pick up on.
I see.
But for now, we just need to save it to somewhere we can look at it.
Okay.
And cool. And then it should do, yeah.
All right. Let's try running it. Oh, there's a, That's interesting.
There's probably a source map.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? Why did it create a folder called this thing and then put it inside of that folder?
I'm very anti those folding things in VS Code because I can never tell if it's a folder or not. It confuses me.
Yeah.
So this is everything from that server we saw a minute ago is in here now. And then somewhere at the bottom ish will be the code we've actually tried to write. There won't be an import anymore because it's all bundled in. But if you, there we go, line 3000 odd at the bottom is the actual server, the new server that we did.
Oh, here we go.
Yes. So that's going to have, it's going to have bundled in both our server and our manifest. And if we were using it, we're not yet, but the pre-build list. So we can go back to the entry file we have.
Entry, yeah.
Yes.
Is this the right one?
So for sanity reasons, let's fix these type problems. So we're gonna use some fancy feature of TypeScript that like I think what is it, ambient modules or something. In your adapter folder, you just want to create a global.t.ts. It doesn't matter the name as long as it's a d.ts.
Let's see here. So let's call it WinterJS.d.ts.
Cool. And then you can go to the Cloudflare worker one, and then the it's the, I don't remember the file name, but it's the d.ts file.
Ambient.
No, the other one. Index.d.ts. Yeah. Oh, maybe not. What is it called?
It does import ambient.js.
That is.
Yeah. Okay. So for anyone that's
it's called placeholders.d.ts.
Placeholder. Okay. For anyone that's new in here, we are trying to build our own adapter for SvelteKit. If you're wondering what all the code is and why we're copying from the Cloudflare adapter and stuff. Okay. So
we don't need the last few lines for this.
This stuff. Static content.
But so you can see here, we're just basically moving the types around. So we're taking the type from this for server from SvelteKit and putting it there. That's just purely because we need this in ES build and for our sanity, so we can see the types when we're writing this entry.js file. And then if you go back, there we go. So you can, if you pull up the entry.js from the Cloudflare adapter.
Oh, that's not the one. Oh, files, entry.
Yes. You want to also copy line 2 for that manifest.
Yep. All right. Cool.
And then if we think back to the hello world we did for WinterJS, we're going to need to copy over that event listener. You can rewrite it or copy it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just do it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Fetch and a callback, and then return new response.
Not quite.
No.
So you need the callback takes in event.
Yep.
And then event dot respond with, and then that's where the response goes.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's exactly what we did before. I just done goofed up. Response probably, and respond.
So I'm not sure if WinterJS provides types, but essentially, if I sent in the StreamYard chat what I had, basically this is the typings, and I don't know, we could probably get away with using the Cloudflare ones if you really wanted to. So that's just, so you need to also add this by the event on line 7 in just right by the variable.
Where?
So literally on line 7 where you wrote
Oh,
event,
right.
just to the left of that.
Over here?
Yes. No, inside the bracket.
No, inside. Okay.
There you go. Is it
Ooh.
seriously going to complain us? God damn it. Well, do you prefer lots of red squiggles or one red squiggle?
One is fine.
Let's
Let's
do
do one.
I'm sure there's probably some types out there, proper types for this.
Yeah.
It's quite simple. Event has 3 things. It has the request, it has this function respond with, and it has this really cool thing called wait until. We won't cover that yet, but that's what it has. And unfortunately, we don't have the types for it properly. So you could get rid of line 6.
All right. It's fine.
Cool. Where were we? Okay, so now we need to actually get SvelteKit working. So I think we should make an async function. I tried making this all inside the event listener, but I had an issue. Not there, sorry, like a new function.
A new function? Oh, like here?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't explain that very well.
Well, what do we want to call it?
Anything. I called it reply when I was doing this.
Yeah.
I would have been nice to be able to do it inside the event listener, but I had some issues where it just decided it didn't want to run the JavaScript. So
Oh. All right.
Okay. And then the 2 steps, I think we saw this earlier in the Cloudflare one, but we have the main 2 steps here, I think, from what I can see, is calling init and actually generating the response. So you want to take the first thing you want to take in a request into this.
So is this where we get the request and response?
Just request, because we're going to return a response out of this.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay.
And then you can type it if you want with JSDoc. I think if you do
No.
on the
That's YOLO.
Okay. So we want to call await inside that function reply. We're going to call await server.init. And then this takes in an object with env as a parameter. And since we don't have any environment variable handling yet, we'll just give it an empty object.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last thing we need to do in that function is actually generate the response from SvelteKit. So that's going to be server.respond.
Yeah. So these are functions that SvelteKit helps us with, right?
Yes.
The init and the respond. Yeah. Okay.
So this
respond.
is the highest up I think we can probably get with like telling SvelteKit what to do in a lot of ways. So it takes in the first parameter is the request, which you're getting from the function, and then the second is an object. I think the only required thing is get client address, which is how it gets your IP address basically. And again, we don't have logic for that right now, so you can just make that a function and just return like 127.0.0.1.
Okay.
As a string.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Of course.
And then you want the respond function returns a promise. You want to await that and then just return it, because that's going to return the response object. And this comes back to, again, web standards, and it's very beautiful.
Like this?
Yes.
Or I guess I could just do this.
Yes. So theoretically, this is the simplest this could get from a SvelteKit adapter. There's a few extra things we have to consider here, which is how do we handle static assets? And as I said, there is a file system, but I'd never got far enough to figure out how to access it yet with WinterJS specifically. So if you look at the Cloudflare adapter, specifically the entry.js, you can see on line 22, there's a little comment that says static assets, and this is how this is what they're doing for the Cloudflare specifically, is they're getting the asset from KV if it exists and then returning it. So static's anything, static folder. It's also like some of the stuff SvelteKit generates for you will be in there. And then if you go a little bit further down, you also see there's a specific handling for some pre-rendered stuff.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so that's that kind of extra stuff we have to do to handle everything correctly. If you might, I don't think there is a way to get away with not handling it, because you have CSS files, have other things.
Yeah.
But you might not need to handle pre-rendering, for example, if that's not something that applies to your adapter. But yeah,
Probably does in this case.
Probably does, yeah. I don't know how to do that with WinterJS yet.
Yeah.
I saw an issue where there is a file system API available, but I don't know if there is a nice way to access it. Again, like, it's going to be interesting to watch the project grow, because it's only I think it's like
That's pretty
year
young.
Yeah, the repo is like a year old, but it's only been worked on over the past few months, mostly from what I can see anyway. So I think it will get better. So in here, you can just, if you go Command Z,
Command C.
Command Z, like undo.
Oh, Z is what I was thinking.
Z.
C, like the Z,
Oh.
like the.
English is hard.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So what do I want to do?
Okay. So instead of new response, we're just gonna do reply, the function, and then pass in event.request.
Yep. And I guess you could also you could just destructure this, right?
You could, yes.
Because I don't like writing stuff multiple times. Ah, beautiful.
Now this should build fine. It won't run. Spoiler alert, because
there's no static handling, right?
There's none of that, and also there's an issue with Winter where I couldn't get it to work, even though it should be fixed. And I think it's probably me not reading something right. We don't have the URL object doesn't have path name, and everything needs that. So
yeah.
We could patch it and be a bit hacky, but it would take a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
This is kind of the core
as far as we can get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, this kind of explains the different parts, right? At least the most basic stuff. So if we wanted to use like the URL.pathname, where would we go? Maybe we can take a look at the Cloudflare one, or is that too convoluted?
So it's the problem is SvelteKit using it internally, and
gotcha.
Yeah, so it's trying to, like, when it's trying to figure out what to do, it needs to look at the path name, but it doesn't exist currently.
Gotcha.
You might be able to get it to exist if you run the compiled version, but we tried and it was.
Yeah, we couldn't get it to build. So
yeah,
unfortunately, this is probably as far as we get. But yeah, so what kind of since you have you done any adapter work before this? Like, have you tinkered with any of the?
I haven't made any new adapters. I've looked at mostly the Cloudflare stuff because that's what I'm mostly interested in. But yeah, I've read a lot of the Node stuff trying to figure out what's going on. It's really interesting. I'm not sure why there's no docs, but it would be fun, I think, to do that in the future. Like, have official documentation for adapters. Because also, as people have seen, there's like loads of community ones for various different platforms, because it's like impossible for us to handle every case.
Yeah.
And so hopefully people get building.
Yeah, and like, if there's no documentation for writing adapters, maybe that's something that could be like a nice issue, something to contribute.
Yes. There might actually be an issue. I haven't checked.
It's probably what we should have looked at the first thing. Let's see here, adapters. I think this is mostly just on how to use adapters, at least on the website.
Yeah, I think so.
And over here, there's nothing here. I guess we can find the kit, documentation. No. Maybe maybe inside of the actual adapters. No, docs.
I don't think there are.
Oh, writing adapters. Here we are.
Oh, sweet. I don't know how I missed that.
It was hidden at the bottom. But like, sure. I mean, this is not going to get you very far, even if you like. If you're smart, it will get you far probably, but more documentation would be good.
I personally, like, everything I've learned about adapters has just been from reading the other ones, and understanding what's going on. I think that's probably the one of the best. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to read the code, unfortunately. But no, definitely more documentation would be good.
Yeah, at least like examples of the adapt function, like that'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, I assume it has everything that you would need in these bullet points here.
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, it's it's quite a simple thing. You have your output, and you need to take your output and transform it into something that your platform can understand. And as soon as you understand what your platform needs, then right, all you need to do is like change that, and that's kind of what we did here. We saw that WinterJS needs this event listener, and we're like, okay, how do we take the SvelteKit and make it this event listener? And that's the entire point of the adapters.
Yeah. On the surface, pretty easy. When you get into it, probably a bit complicated.
Yes.
Especially, and like, for example, like some of the platforms like Cloudflare or Vercel, they have specific functions that other adapters don't. And so you would have to implement those, right? So in Cloudflare's case, that would be KV or durable objects or whatever.
There's no like file system in the same way as some other things like with Cloudflare, and it's the same here, that even though there is a file system in WASMA, it's not Node.fs. It's not something we're familiar with. Yep. So we can't just use the Node adapter here like you could on other things.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the static adapter, you'd struggle because you still need an FS, right? So
yeah, exactly. Like I'm sure somewhere in WinterJS there is a file system.
There's an issue that talked about it because one of the things they use, Spiderfire, provides some modules. I didn't have time to try and figure out how to actually to use it and to type it correctly. But yeah, it's certainly interesting.
I honestly was a bit amazed by how easy it was to just run this thing.
Yeah,
it's quite amazing that you could just like, oh, WASMA run WASMA WinterJS, and you have your like a super simple server, but it works.
It's always very hard to understand when you first look at a new runtime or something, like trying to fully wrap your head around, oh, how does this work? When I run this, what am I doing? And I think with this, it's not too hard to understand. And we're the goal is to run stuff in WASM because it's cool. And this is just one way to do it.
I wonder if here we have the issue, right? Probably. Or is maybe this is something else? It sounds like this would be the thing that we need.
I'm not sure. That I don't know. Might be.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out what the file API is. Is that a MDN file API? Is that actually a... Okay, maybe this is file objects retrieved from file list and turn. Okay, maybe this has more to do with like forms and sending files.
Yeah, could be.
Who knows? Who knows? All right. Are there any questions in the chat about adapters for Willow or me? I won't be able to answer any of them, so I'll just hand them off to Willow.
If you don't have any questions now, or you want to like build adapters later and stuff, then the best place is probably to ask in the Discord, either in the contributing chat, the questions chat, or you can even come in the sports science chat and ask if you like.
Yep.
And yeah, we can try our best to help.
Yeah. I guess that's it for the stream. This was a lot of fun. I knew nothing about adapters. Now I feel like I could at least somewhat maybe build one at some point if I had if the target had any of the features that we needed. I guess we could probably do another stream if we just like try to write a simple Cloudflare adapter from scratch, like kind of walking through that one or something similar.
We could try to recreate, if we're going to try and recreate anything, trying to recreate probably static or the Cloudflare one or the Node one would probably be the easiest. I don't use Vercel that much, so I don't understand the Vercel one too much, but it's like 300 lines of code. So we'd be here a while.
Yep. No, maybe the Node one is the easiest one. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see if we can figure something out with that. All right, and with that, goodbye, everyone. Ooh, this was very confusing. That's better. All right, take care, everyone. We will see you in another stream at some point. And now I click the end.